Is turmeric toxic to the liver particularly? So turmeric has been making big medical headlines this month. It's generating lots of questions and lots of concerns too from people who take it about the risk of it causing liver damage. So here is a sampling of the kinds of headlines that I have seen this month. Millions at risk, popular herbal supplements linked to potential liver damage, or popular health supplements causing liver damage, hospitalization, research finds. Study estimates millions in US risk liver damage from herbal remedies. Understandable that these are generating concerns. Now, of course, here are a few examples of the kind of questions that I've been getting from people who are understandably concerned about this. Number one, I've heard that turmeric can cause liver problems. Is it safe for me to take? Or I have fatty liver disease already. Is turmeric okay for me to take? Or my liver function tests, LFTs, just came back high. Could the turmeric I've been taking be causing that? So does turmeric cause liver problems? That is our topic for today. Let's get right into it. But before we do, listen, I would love it if you'd subscribe to this channel, give this video a quick thumbs up because it really helps me get this sort of important information out there to more health conscious people like you. This issue about turmeric and liver health has been raised because of a study that was published just last month in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, and the media frenzy that followed the publication of that paper. Now, as a naturopathic doctor and as the creator of a very popular product that contains a turmeric extract, this study and all the questions that it's generating are all valid and they're all worth taking very seriously. They are also the product of a gross media exaggeration. So first, I want to talk about the JAMA paper itself. I'm going to give you the title of the article, which is Estimated Exposure to 6 Potentially Hepatotoxic Botanicals in the US. Now, the key question in this paper is what percentage of US adults consume at least one of 6 potentially hepatotoxic or liver toxic botanical products. The data in this study is about how many people use herbal products that have previously, in other studies, been potentially associated with liver problems. So this paper is not actually about the liver damage caused by herbal supplements. It's about how many people take 6 different supplements: turmeric, green tea, ashwagandha, black cohosh, Garcinia cambogia, and red yeast rice. And it's a big number. It's about 15 million people. Herbal medicine is very popular indeed. So the authors then chose to compare that number to the number of people who take NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and statin drugs, both of which are also very big numbers, right in that same zone with about 15 million people. And it's interesting that the authors chose not to include the 50 million users of acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, in this analysis. I'm going to leave that there for right now, but we'll get back to that in just a minute. So now let's move on to the data about liver injuries. So the JAMA study used data from something called the Drug-Induced Liver Injury Network, DILIN for short, to do their analysis. The DILIN reports contain about 130 cases of liver damage that may have been caused by herbal supplements over a 10-year period from 2004 to 2013. 45 of those cases were related to the use of bodybuilding supplements, which are not really relevant here because bodybuilders and all the stuff they do is a whole separate issue. We can talk about that in another video. That leaves the other 85 liver damage cases, which occurred in people who use more mainstream herbs, including turmeric and the 5 others that I mentioned. So that's 85 cases over the course of 10 years. That's 8 or 9 cases of liver problems, possibly related to the use of herbal supplements per year. Now, if we want to look only at turmeric, which is what we're talking about here today, the numbers are even lower. A 2023 study described 10 cases of turmeric-associated liver injuries over a 12-year period from 2011 to 2022. That's less than 1 case per year, and half of those cases were considered mild, didn't involve any hospitalization or anything. Most of the cases were in people who were overweight or obese, and 70% of these people also used alcohol. Now, to be clear, even 1 case of liver injury is 1 case too many, and it deserves to be investigated. That is for sure. But 10 cases over 12 years, that's less than 1 case per year, in a group of millions is a minuscule risk. You are much more likely to get struck by lightning. So now let's compare that risk with the risk of taking acetaminophen, which is Tylenol. You know it, a familiar over-the-counter drug. It's a pain reliever, it's a fever reducer, it's readily available over the counter, and there's no controversy here. Tylenol, acetaminophen, is toxic to the liver. Every year in the United States, Tylenol causes over 50,000 emergency room visits, 2,600 hospitalizations, and around 500 deaths annually every year due to acute liver failure. Now, about half of these incidents are unintentional. The other half are from people who overdose on purpose, usually in a suicide attempt, knowing that Tylenol overdose causes fatal liver failure. If we only count the unintentional overdoses, that's 1,300 hospitalizations for liver damage every year from Tylenol. Now remember, turmeric might cause one case of liver damage every year. Tylenol causes thousands. So where are the headlines about that? The media coverage of this issue is a perfect example of a long-standing bias in the way that mainstream media and mainstream medicine, for that matter, looks at natural medicine. There is an obvious double standard happening when we see these alarmist headlines about turmeric. It's an herb that's been consumed safely as a food and as a medicine by over 1 billion people worldwide, when there's a common household drug that presents a 1,000-fold bigger risk. This is fear-mongering, and it's not just a flaw in reporting. It hints at really a deeper, more systemic issue in how we perceive and how we communicate risks in health, especially when it comes to natural health. And the hype and the fear-mongering headlines about natural supplements, they are grossly, grossly overstated. Of course, just because a product is natural does not mean that it's 100% safe. To be clear, natural products can cause harm too, and there's ongoing research that's directed at understanding if there's genetic or other kinds of factors that might explain these rare adverse events that we sometimes see that are reported with turmeric and other herbal medicines, and we should investigate those thoroughly. Now, in the case of turmeric, there are several issues that scientists are currently investigating. One is that there is some evidence that a genetic mutation, and it happens to be called HLA-B3501, might be involved in people getting an adverse reaction. Having that mutation might increase the risk of having an adverse effect if you eat or consume turmeric. Another might be related to newer, higher potency turmeric extracts that might include other ingredients or other biotechnologies for enhanced absorption. These are increasingly popular. Now, as a naturopathic physician for nearly 25 years now, I've seen this sort of biased reporting against natural medicine many, many times before. And as natural and herbal medicine becomes even more popular, I suspect that we're going to see more of this. Honestly, I'm not totally sure what's behind the bias and the fear-mongering, but I have 3 pretty good ideas. First, even though herbal medicine is one of the oldest forms of medicine, it's still relatively new and different here in the United States. And new or different can be scary for people. I totally understand that. Number 2, the mainstream media repeatedly reports that herbal supplements are part of this totally unregulated industry, and that is just simply not true. Herbal products must adhere to several federal regulations, including being manufactured in accordance with good manufacturing practices. We call that CGMPs. They also have to undergo all sorts of analytical testing to confirm their identity, purity, strength, composition, and that they're free from contaminants. So that's another reason. And then the third reason might be that the increasing popularity of herbal medicine is a threat to the profits of Big Pharma, which is a major profit center within mainstream medicine. And these sorts of articles are almost like a hit piece or part of a smear campaign against herbal medicines on behalf of the pharmaceutical industry. So now let's get back to the original question. Does turmeric cause liver problems? Now, the short answer is no. In the vast majority of people who take it, turmeric is completely safe. In fact, there are studies that show how turmeric can support liver health and actually improve liver function. It's been shown to reduce elevated liver enzymes, and there's evidence that it can improve liver health even in people who have fatty liver disease. Now, of course, with any medical intervention, and that includes herbal medicine interventions, there should always be an assessment of risk versus benefit. And in the case of turmeric and liver health, I feel very confident that the benefit of turmeric supplementation vastly outweighs the risks. So there you have it. I hope that this information was useful to you. And if it was, listen, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to this channel, click that little bell down there so that you don't miss another hot take like this one.